in 2014, the Carolina Panthers went into December 3-8-1. 3-8-1. That's 5 games below 500. They would win all 4 of their December games, make the playoffs, and actually get a win over the Arizona Cardinals, who employed one Carson Palmer at the time. He did not play in that game, but a decade later, we'll need a similar magical run from another bunch of Jungle Cats for them to sneak into the postseason. Welcome to the Jungle. I'm Matt Edwards. I appreciate you tuning in. It's Thanksgiving morning here in Ohio and really across America. That's how that works. It's not just Thanksgiving here. It's Thanksgiving everywhere. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone. You are in the jungle. We'll talk about ping pong tables. I'll give you 3 guys I think could make a difference as we go through the end of this 2024 year. And by the way, we're still going to talk about the 2024 season here. I know some people are into heading into their draft status and looking at what pick the Bengals have. I'm not going to do that here. According to NFL.com, the Bengals still have a 14% chance to make the playoffs. It goes up to 20 with a win. It drops to 4 with a loss as they welcome the Steelers into Cincinnati this weekend. So some people want to talk draft already. I'm not in that camp. Like, we've got, 6-7 months until the draft, and then after that, you've got to wait another 5 months to watch those guys play. And really, the way the Bengals do it, you don't know a lot about their draft picks the first year anyway, so I'm living in the present. I'm not going to do the whole thing where you might not know about the draft picks till 2026, the way the Bengals like to develop guys. That could be 2 years from now. I'm living here in the here and now, and plus I'm not in the front office making those picks. So if you want to do that, if that's your thing, go for it. But I'm not going to spend my time talking about the draft already. It's freaking Thanksgiving. The Bengals are still in playoff contention. I'm old enough to remember a time when this was just magical, that they were on that little In the Hunt graphic when CBS would pop it up. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what they have to do to get there. The Bengals face the Steelers on Sunday. You might remember them. Haven't seen them all season long. Pittsburgh leads the all-time series 70-39. That's an ugly number. And the Steelers have won the last 2. Of course, Joe Burrow played in neither of those. Remember what a big part of our lives Jake Browning was last Thanksgiving? Burrow all-time 3-2 against the Steelers. 8 touchdowns. 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Of course, 4 of those came in the 2022 season opener, that nightmare of a game. But yeah, those are Jameis Winston numbers right there. 11 touchdowns, 8 picks, just going for it all the time. But like I said, that 2022 season opener, that nightmare of an overtime game, that's where 4 of those interceptions came. So bear with me as we, this is the first time I've spoken today. Typically, I'm doing this late in the afternoon or at night. It's 7:06 a.m. on Thanksgiving Day. I'm getting up and doing it for the people, so still collecting my voice here. The Steelers just lost to the Browns. Many of you saw that in the snowstorm. They've also lost to Dallas. They've lost to Indianapolis. Kind of a tricky team to figure out because they've got the big wins as well. They beat Baltimore, which you can kind of push that one to the side because these teams just punch each other in the mouth repeatedly, with Pittsburgh often coming out on top. But they've also beat Washington as they continue their slide, but they're probably a playoff team. They're right on the bubble, I guess, at this point. They beat the Chargers. They beat Denver. The Steelers are kind of doing the opposite of what the Bengals are doing. Everything's close. It doesn't matter who they play. They will be in the game, except they win the games. Bengals do the same thing, but then find a way to lose the game. So they'll get together this weekend. All of their games are close. I mean, you look at their schedule, and of course I don't have it pulled up here, but I'll get it real quick. And, of course, they lose to the Browns. What you kind of have to hope right now is that Pittsburgh's getting ready to start a cold streak because they've been overachieving all season. Like, yeah, they beat Denver. In back-to-back weeks, Washington, which I know Washington's cooling off now, but, they go there and get a 1-point win. They beat Baltimore 2 weeks ago. The games they're supposed to win, they blew out Vegas. They blew out the Jets. They lost to Dak's Cowboys. They lost to the Colts, and you kind of thought they were cooling off there. So, tricky team to figure out. But again, it's a Mike Tomlin team. When they have an opportunity to win, they seem to be able to take advantage of that. The Bengals have to, we kind of know what the recipe is for the Bengals at this point. It's just a matter, can they put those ingredients in a bowl and bake them without burning them or undercooking them? That's the issue we're working with this Bengals team every week. They've got their flaws all on the defensive side of the ball. Well, not all on the defensive side of the ball, but all the ones they can't overcome are on the defensive side of the ball. Can they patch things up for long enough against this Steelers team to remain in the playoff hunt? We'll find out, about 72 hours from now? A little bit more than that. But this is the game of the year. And I know we say that every week at this point, right? Like, everything the Bengals do, Chargers, game of the year. Like, They have got to win these games. The Baltimore game before that, game of the year. This is kind of the one, right? Their back is against the wall. They don't win this one, it goes down to 4%. I need a little sound effects machine. Drops to 4% chance of getting in if they can't win this. If they do win it, after that, it's Dallas, it's Tennessee, it's Cleveland. Those are 3 games the Bengals can and should win. So if you can knock off the Steelers Sunday, get hot here, as we've seen this team do in December under Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor, you could potentially win 4 straight. You're 8-7 heading into your final 2 against Denver and Pittsburgh. We're not giving up here. There's no point in that. Someone told me the other day, said, hey, you see what happens next year. They're not dead yet. They're not dead yet. You know how many teams will be thrilled to have a shot? How many fan bases, I should say, will be thrilled to kind of control their own destiny at this point? The Jets aren't doing that. Well, I guess every team's kind of doing it, but no one actually believes that. The Bengals have reason. They're a few plays and a few bad calls away from being around closer to 500 right now. So, like I said, if you're done with the Bengals this year, good for you. You got 3 free hours on Sundays, but this team is just so close. You can't let go at this point. They're so close every single week. I don't know how you can quit them, but if you want to do that, go ahead. But this is a game where if they don't win and you're 4-8 as we get into December, that's where you get sick to your stomach. And then if you want to look at draft status and, where the Bengals are going to pick and who they're going to pick, you go ahead and do that. You can do it now if you want. You can do it whenever you want. It's a free country. Isn't it beautiful? It's Thanksgiving, baby. Be thankful. So, Bengals, Steelers, Sunday. Playing them late in the year. It'll be December 1st. They play them once in December, once in January. They'll close out with them. Kind of weird to see that. So what do we want to see? What do we want to see so that we know the Bengals can get a victory on Sunday? We know the things that they're able to do and the things they're able to do well. We know the things they're not able to do well. How do you minimize those? Well, let me get the coffee flowing through the veins. You come out and you throw haymakers. That's the one thing that it feels like over the years, the Steelers have kind of that logo, that black and gold has kind of intimidated this team a little bit at times. I said it last week. I did an episode about 5 things I want to see after the bye. Let it rip here. Go nuts on this team. I want the Bengals more than anything. If you're a neutral observer, I want you to watch this game. Someone who typically maybe doesn't watch a lot of AFC North football, I want them to watch this game and say, oh, that team in black and orange, they're definitely the tougher team, right? They're kind of punching them in the mouth a little bit. They're blitzing off the edge. They're throwing little routes over the middle to that number 1 guy, and he's taking them 27 yards up the field. I want to see the Bengals come out and play with a confidence, because it seems like whenever these two get together, the Steelers have an edge before the game even starts. I want them to come out. I want this coaching staff to put them in position to punch the Steelers in the mouth early. Throw some deep shots. Send Cam Taylor-Britt off the edge for a sack because you know he's not going to do much in coverage. Do the different things you have to do to let the Steelers know. Remind them early, you're the ones playing with house money, right? The Steelers are what, 8-3? Yeah, 8-3, first in the AFC North. The Bengals are the ones playing with house money here. And the Bengals are arguably the more talented team. Vegas seems to think so, as the Bengals are favored this week. Pittsburgh right now, if the season ended, would be 3rd in the AFC behind Kansas City and Buffalo. No one saw that coming. The Bengals, on the other hand, kind of in the opposite. Everyone thought they would be up there. They're 10th. You go out there, you throw your best punch, and you play with the house money because you got nothing to lose. Well, you do have a lot to lose, but that's not the mentality you can have. You go in there with the mentality of, no one expects us to win, because really, if you're a Bengals fan, do you expect them to win any big games at this point? No. Steelers fans, they're saying the opposite. They've seen this story before. They're the team that always overachieves. The Bengals are the team that always underachieves. Go out there and play like you're a few games less under 500. Go out there and let it rip. That's kind of been my knock on the Bengals all season. You need more of an edge. You need to be tougher. Let's see it. Let's see it. This is the franchise to do it against. If you can win this game coming off a bye after that second half in Los Angeles on Sunday Night Football, this is a game where you can propel yourself to make a run here at the end. I know it sounds foolish, but we know the talent this team has. There's no reason not to just come out there and throw your best punch time after time, get an early lead, make your team believe that they're not going to be in a shootout the entire time. That's what we need to see. I think the Steelers are going to want to do the opposite. I think they're going to want to make this an ugly game. They want this to, first to 20 wins, a 21-16, 21-14, something like that. That's the game they're hoping to play. They're hoping that Joe Burrow does not throw the ball 50 times again, as he has in the last 2 weeks. They're hoping that, they're sustaining drive. They want to make it ugly. We know if you're listening to this podcast, and especially if you're listening still, you know what it's like for the Steelers to, as my daughter is singing Old MacDonald in her crib, she's awake already, that's good. You know what it's like if you're the Steelers to kind of go out there and just drag teams down. We saw what they did on Thursday against the Browns. That's what they do. Now, the Browns are a bad team, but that's kind of the game Pittsburgh wants to play. They want every game to feel like it's happening in a snow globe. The Bengals have to tiger up, pun intended, and just kind of knock them in the teeth a few times. That's what I want to see. Honestly, and I said last week on the show, I want the Bengals to commit more penalties because I want them to toe the line more. We know TJ Watt's going to go out there and he's going to play right up to that whistle and go past it a few times. He probably won't get flagged most of them. I don't necessarily think he's a dirty player, but he's a player who wants to punch you in the mouth and make sure you feel it. Can the Bengals punch back? Because the Steelers have been punching the Bengals in the mouth for a long time, and the Bengals have come out on top from time to time, sure, but not nearly enough. So I need to see the script flipped right now when it comes to this rivalry. If you want to make a push, here's how you do it. We know you can go out there and score on offense. You're not very good on defense. You know what you can be on defense? Tough. You can knock guys around a little bit. You got some heavy hitters. You got Trey Hendrickson. He's obviously been great. We know your safeties, if nothing else, can lay the wood. You got 3 of them in Von Bell, Geno Stone, if he can catch people, Geno Stone and Jordan Battle. Put those guys in there. Let me see Muma Jongmeta in there, the undrafted rookie who lays the wood. Put some guys in there who, even if you're going to give up a little, let Pittsburgh know this is going to be a slugfest. Show me some haymakers. Whatever the game plan was for Myles Garrett against them, do that, but with Trey Hendrickson. Myles Garrett, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for a loss. Just a beast. You need guys to go out there and set the tone and remind the Steelers that as tough as they are and as well coached as they are and as successful as they've been, the Bengals are the more talented team. There's no one that would take Pittsburgh's roster over Cincinnati's right now. And of course, a lot of that has to do with number 9 and number 1 and number 5 and number 91, but still, top-heavy talent. I want the Bengals to be the tougher team. Would that not be the best to see them go out there and not just win? Obviously, winning at this point however you do it, we'll be thrilled. But make Pittsburgh feel like, we just got pushed around a little bit. How do you do that? You get ping pong tables in the locker room to get people excited. We'll get to that in a minute. I told you at the top of the show, I was just kind of thinking, I feel like I've done this every other week because you're just looking for the missing pieces to figure this team out. And as one door closes, another one opens. DJ Turner, likely out for the year, broke his collarbone. That's after Dax Hill tore his ACL earlier in the year. So the Bengals are without corner 2, corner 3, and corner 1 is just having a disaster of the season. So I was thinking about Josh Newton, of course, the rookie out of TCU. More on him in a second. And I was thinking, well, he's a guy who, when he comes in there, he looks good. Are there other guys we can see more out of? So I thought about 3 guys who I think could elevate the entire team if they can just come in and make an impact these last few games. These are not guys I'm blaming for the woes. These are the guys who I think maybe could see a little more playing time and maybe could give the Bengals the spark they need to make a run here at the end. The first one, these are guys who have an opportunity. The first one I mentioned a second ago, Josh Newton. If you're not that familiar, 5th-round rookie out of Texas Christian University. He had to come in last week and looked pretty good against the Chargers, especially by the standards of a 5th-round rookie. Now, he's elevated his game everywhere he's went. I look into this guy a little bit. Started out at Louisiana Monroe as a receiver, switched to corner, goes to TCU after 3 years, becomes first-team All-Big 12. These are the kind of guys, when you hear about 5th-round rookies and day 3 draft picks who end up being successful in the league, there's always kind of this path of constantly ascending, and he's one of those guys. Starts out at a different position, switches it up to be better, starts out at a smaller school, intercepted Malik Hooker in college, one of the great, prospects for a while there in Green Bay now. He's a guy who's constantly ascended, goes to TCU, and gets first team all Big 12. In the preseason, definitely looked really good, comes in here one time and looks really good. So again, guys who get picked on day 3, who end up being NFL players and successful ones, there's always that path of, they were always getting a promotion, always upping their game. Can Josh Newton be that guy? And I've harped on this all year. The Bengals have to find some diamonds in the rough. And if you can get a starting caliber cornerback in the 5th round, which he might be, that would be a diamond in the rough. So let's see what he can do as he steps in there and takes over for DJ Turner on that second cornerback spot. The other guy, another another draft pick who at the time we all thought highly of, who were just seemingly waiting to explode. This is kind of his last stand in Cincinnati, I think. Joseph Ossai. He seems to be now, he is the first guy off the bench. He's overtaken Myles Murphy as the, last year's first round draft pick. He's getting more snaps than Myles at this point. Can you just take that next step? We saw a bit of it in 2022. Can you take that? Can you find the extra gear to be the pass rusher this team needs? Trey Hendrickson, awesome. Outside of that, the Bengals need someone to apply some pressure. He's been the first guy off the bench. He's going to, he's coming up now. Let's see. He was 20, 21, 22, 23. So, yeah, he's due to make a contract somewhere. Can you make a name for yourself here at the end and get some guaranteed money? Can you redeem yourself after that 2022 penalty in the postseason at Arrowhead Stadium? This is a big chance. This is a great opportunity because right now the Bengals are begging anyone on defense to be a playmaker. Can Joseph Ossai be that guy? Can you find that extra gear? You're getting the snaps. You're getting the opportunities. Football coaches love to say, don't count your reps. Make your reps count. Right now is the chance for him to be the guy we all thought he could be when he was drafted out of Texas. And the third guy, I know he's a guy who plays full-time, but Geno Stone. I just feel like we've seen him look sharp at times. That's the frustrating thing. He, of course, was one of the 2 free agent big acquisitions, came over from Baltimore to play safety. And before that Raiders game where he whipped his leg in a weird way, he was looking pretty sharp. He was looking like he was finding his spot in the defense and getting comfortable and playing with his instincts. And he just hasn't looked the same since he was carted off and miraculously ended up being okay. I can't give up on him yet. If you watch the things he's been able to do, and maybe it's Lou putting him in a different position. I've said you've got to find some confidence for these guys. These are not guys who just suck. You've got to find a way to put these guys in position to succeed. Geno Stone, if he can just, again, kind of be one of the better players in the secondary, which doesn't take much, he's a guy who, on the back end of this defense, they need some help. So those are your 3 guys, all on defense. Josh Newton, Joseph Ossai, Geno Stone. 3 guys whose names start with J, right? Isn't that weird, all on defense? I know they don't start with J, but isn't it weird that they all sound the same and Geno starts with a G? Like if you put a G on the front of Josh, it would be gosh. Makes no sense. The English language is tricky. That's the way it is. Thank God I'm able to read. Josh Newton, Joseph Ossai, Geno Stone. 3 guys. Elevate your game. Well, Josh doesn't really even need to elevate his. He just needs to prove he belongs. Because right now, in that secondary, it doesn't take much to be like, hey, that's a guy. So those are the 3 guys. And yeah, man, do something. I mean, the Bengals are healthy now. Orlando Brown Jr. is going to be back. You saw the difference the last couple weeks with him out, how that offensive line is just, we saw Joe walking off the field flustered as he should be. Orlando Brown Jr. is a huge boost to this team. I like the Bengals this weekend, 27-26. Give me a close game. This is a game the Bengals should win, by the way. They're healthy. They're at home. They need it. Their backs are against the wall. They're coming off a bye. This is a game where, for all the people who say the season's over and Zach Taylor should go and they need a full overhaul, this is a game where if they can't come out and get a win, then yeah, you're probably right. The Bengals do need to do some serious soul searching. If coming off the bye and about as healthy as they can hope to be in December, you got to have this one. So 27-26, I like the Bengals. I'm not going to pick the Steelers. That's the one place where you got Ohio State, Michigan, and Steelers, Bengals on the same weekend. for me, man, a lot of rage flowing through the veins after I get done with this turkey today. I hope everyone has a Thanksgiving that is happy. I meant to say a happy Thanksgiving. I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. 5 of the 6 teams playing on Thanksgiving are from the NFC. Of course, we will want to root against the Miami Dolphins on Thursday night as they play in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Who else do we have? So tomorrow, I want to point this out. A lot of people, I don't know about a lot of people, but people might say, or maybe no one will say it, and I'm just thinking it. Some people might say the Raiders and Chiefs game on Friday doesn't matter because the Chiefs are like locked in as far as the Bengals go. We need the Chiefs to lose that. Here's why. They are going to play the Steelers and Broncos in the last 2 games. We want the Chiefs to be playing for something in Week 18 because they're going to play the Broncos in Week 18, and the Broncos right now are ahead of the Bengals. The Broncos and Colts are the teams that we need to lose. So, yeah, on paper, Raiders, Chiefs doesn't really matter, but you want the Chiefs to be playing for something going down the stretch here because they play some teams in Denver and who else? Steelers that you need to lose. So let me pull their schedule up here. And they play the Chargers again, which I don't know that the Bengals can catch them. I don't know that the Bengals can catch the Steelers. But at this point, you kind of have to, I mean, there's no point in not at least rooting for things to go your way, right? So we'll see. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. There's a lot of ways for the Bengals to kind of gain some ground this weekend too. If they can get a win, Miami loses. Look at me, turning into a psycho. The Chargers are playing an NFC team in Atlanta. I mean, who else? Indianapolis is at New England. That's a game where if the Patriots could pull off an upset would really be helpful. There's a lot of opportunity, man. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of opportunity for the Bengals. I mean, Cleveland goes to Denver on Monday night. They won't win that. But if they did, it would be cool, right? So keep rooting. Don't give up yet. That's the point of sports, right? You're going to look at the draft. What? So you can know more about the next Myles Murphy, who has 0 sacks this year in his second year, in the year we really needed him to be a guy who turned it on? No. Who cares? Live in the now. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Oh, the ping pong tables are back. I didn't even talk about that. Here's what I'll say about the ping pong tables. As I think like the show is being promoted partly due to ping pong tables, here's what I'll say about it. For all the criticisms, and a lot of them fair, of Zach Taylor, one thing he's been great at is the locker room. The guys in there love him. They love that they can say what they want when the microphones are on. They like Zach Taylor. They might not like the play calls he does. They might not like some of the positions they put them in. Probably the same criticisms we have. Be aggressive. Let it rip down the stretch. The thing they do like about him is he's a cool guy to work for. And if he thinks ping pong tables are good, and we've seen in the past, that ping pong table, that's a thing. You might want to say it's goofy. You might want to be Johnny Tough Guy and be like, oh, ping pong tables, you're an NFL player. Shut up. What do you know? You know who has ping pong tables? Google and Apple. Successful companies. So I'm all for it. Get the guys there. Get a little competitiveness going. The season's probably getting stale. It sucked. Give them something to wake up. And, 30-some-year-old guys sitting around making fun of ping pong tables. Those dudes are 23, 24. Ping pong is life at that age. That bring back some childhood memories. They went to college, football got all serious. Now they're thinking about, we used to play ping pong after 2-a-days in middle school. This is fun. Whatever's going on in the locker room, that's one place I will not, to this point, question Zach Taylor. He's been awesome there. Long live the ping pong tables. Everyone have a happy Thanksgiving. I appreciate you tuning in. As you know, numbers keep climbing up a little, and I don't really care about that, but it's nice to know that what I'm saying here, people enjoy it. So I'm thankful for people tuning in. My name is Matt Edwards. You are listening to In the Jungle. Enjoy the weekend. Get a win over the Steelers, and keep climbing from there. Don't give up the faith. We'll see you on, they play Sunday. We'll see you again early next week. We'll see you on Monday. It's going to be fun. December's here. Holiday cheer. Let's get a win over the Steelers.